There's a lot of videos here on YouTube that talk about the general themes of Cyberpunk 2077 and how they reflect on the world. How corporations are taking over the world, and if we don't do something about them, then our lives will be no better than the residents of Night City, living in their mega buildings, eating their soy meat, living in fear of gangs and corporations, all looking to exploit innocent people. This is not one of those videos. Instead, this is about the journey you go through in the game. For those of you who have never played the game, if you don't need a rundown of the story, you can go to the timestamp on screen, and obviously spoilers. Cyberpunk 2077 is a dystopian role-playing game set in Night City, a city controlled not by a government, but instead by the corporations in the year 2077. In Cyberpunk, you play as a character named V, a mercenary who, in some way, shape, or form, gets caught up in the city's ranks of mercenaries after having their life flipped upside down in whichever life path you choose in the game. V's goal is to become a legend among mercenaries in Night City, to be the very best like no one ever was, if you will. It's something we can all relate to, wanting to be the best. V receives their chance to become a legend after being tasked with a job from one of Night City's best fixers, which are essentially middlemen between the people that want something done and the mercenaries that go out and get said thing done. V, along with their friends Jackie and T-Bug, are tasked with stealing a biochip containing the digitized soul of a long-dead rock star and terrorist known as Johnny Silverhand. The biochip being in possession of the world's biggest megacorporation, Arasaka, makes this job an extremely high-risk, high-reward ordeal. And because this is a video game and the story needs to keep going, everything that can go wrong does go wrong, resulting in the death of Jackie, T-Bug, and ultimately V. However, after slotting the biochip into V, they're able to cheat death with a massive caveat. The biochip containing Johnny Silverhand becomes active, allowing Johnny and V to be able to communicate with each other, as well as beginning its process of overwriting V's brain with Johnny's. The two don't exactly start out on the best terms. It actually starts with Johnny attempting to murder V in cold blood, though over the course of V and Johnny's journey, they grow to become friends and work together to disentangle their minds from each other in order to save V's life. Johnny and V come to a mutual agreement that Johnny will be erased from V's head on the condition that V helps him settle a 50-year-old score with Arasaka. Remember when I said that Johnny was a terrorist? Well, that's because Johnny was part of a strike team that detonated a nuke inside of Arasaka's Night City headquarters. Johnny was killed by one of Arasaka's goons and in his dying moments was soul killed. Soul killing is a process one goes through when their brain is turned into an AI. Johnny and V go on an adventure tracking down every lead they can in hopes of finding a way to disentangle themselves from each other before the chip Johnny resides in overwrites V's brain. Ultimately, at least as of before Phantom Liberty's release, since the expansion isn't out yet, though it may be out by the time this video gets done, I took my sweet time with it, we don't know if V can actually find a cure. The two are unable to find a solution. They manage to disentangle their minds, but the biochip has done so much irreversible damage to V's body to the point that just existing would kill them after 6 months, leaving V with the choice to either keep their body and live out the last 6 months they have left while Johnny becomes part of an AI superintelligence that used to be his ex-girlfriend, or give Johnny V's body, which is now perfectly inhabitable for him thanks to the biochip, while V joins the AI. These are the two best endings you can get in the game, the worst being where V betrays Johnny, teams up with the very mega corporation Johnny sacrificed his life to destroy, leaving Johnny dead once and for all at the hands of who he believes is the greatest evil in the world, and V still with 6 months left to live, unless V quite literally sells their soul to Arasaka to become an AI like Johnny was on the biochip. To say that this game is bleak is an incredible understatement. I know that whole rundown sounds like a bunch of sci-fi mumbo-jumbo, but really, to me, this whole game is life-changing. At least that's how I felt when I finally finished the game. In my stupidly obsessive breakdown of the story, I contained the best parts of the game to about one sentence: V and Johnny's journey, the actual meat and potatoes of the game. Over the course of V and Johnny's journey, you go to extremely dangerous lengths to find a cure for V. In one part of the game, you might be working with a cult clearing out a gang of massive roid-raging psychopaths from an abandoned mall with the hopes of finding the person that originally wanted the biochip, only to find out they were only using V to reach out to an AI to beg for safety in a human-AI war they fear of happening one day. In another, you'll be rescuing a prostitute who is trafficked into the snuff industry after trying to run away from anyone in connection to the biochip heist, only to then watch her off herself a few days later due to the abuse she suffered. Cyberpunk 2077 is about refusing to let go of hope in a world where quite literally everything, and I mean everything, is out to kill you. The corporations trap people and put their minds on biochips. Night City is completely loaded with automated turrets everywhere that will spring into action and shoot you on the spot if you break the law. Gangsters will happily kill you in broad daylight if you so much as look at them the wrong way. Morality decayed a long time ago, and what's left is a hypersexualized, drugged up, hyper-capitalist hellscape that will no matter what kill you one day. But somewhere in all of that mess, V exists. You exist. Along your journey, you'll meet an incredibly large slew of some real terrible people, ranging from low-life thugs all the way up to corporate CEOs trying to play God. But for every 10 terrible people you come across, you'll meet at least one person who you're able to call a friend. On part of V's journey, you're tasked with finding the biochip's creator, Anders Hellman. You get this information, ironically enough, from another one of Johnny's ex-girlfriends, Rogue. After paying Rogue around 15 grand for the information, you meet up with another one of Rogue's little pawns, Panam Palmer, who at first is pretty standoffish towards you, but after you go out of your way to be a good person and help her out, she eventually warms up to you and becomes one of your closest friends, or love interest depending on which gender you choose to make V in the character creator. You going above and beyond to help Panam opens up one of the game's endings, this ending which most people consider to be the closest thing to a good ending in the game. In this ending, after choosing to live for another 6 months, V leaves Night City behind with Panam and her nomad group, the Aldecaldos, choosing to let go of Night City in the dream of becoming a legend in exchange for living their final days with their newfound family. To make this ending even better, if you play as female V, you have the option to get into a relationship with another one of Cyberpunk's characters, Judy Alvarez. Judy accompanies you on your journey to save Evelyn Parker, the prostitute that ends her life after being trafficked. Judy wants revenge for Evelyn's death on the people that abused her and plans a revolution at what's essentially a strip club in Night City, where she plans to overthrow the management of the club that led to Evelyn being trafficked and handed over control to the sex workers. I swear to God this is all getting somewhere. If V chooses to go through hell and back for Judy, she'll eventually fall in love with V, and in the ending where V chooses to leave Night City, she'll leave with her. In Cyberpunk, what starts as a terrible situation is always guaranteed to end in something much worse, but that doesn't mean that everything about V's situation is terrible and going to be horrible. And isn't that really all that life is? Just one long, terrible situation that no matter what results in death? We can do whatever we want to try to avoid this, to try and cope with this, to try and ignore it, but the world will kick you down and take from you, over and over again. While you've got the time, you can try and make something of yourself. You can surround yourself with people that make you happy. You can enjoy the human experience for what it has to offer. It's all your choice on what you want to do, but with freedom of choice, you can also choose to do terrible things. You can take advantage of the people you care about, abandon the people who need you most, and ultimately, you can choose to give up. The worst of the worst endings in Cyberpunk's story gives V the choice to, instead of fighting to save their life, just simply end themselves instead, believing no matter what they do, it's not worth it to try to save their life, and that V's friends made on the journey deserve better than helping them find a way to keep living. In the credits scene of this ending, you see all the friends you made leave V voicemails mourning their death. Some will pray for you, some will break down crying, and some will wish you the worst for your selfishness. Some of them don't even know what to say at all. Cyberpunk makes you aware that your actions have consequences, which can be a real wake-up call for someone living day by day, not thinking about their own future and the people that they have around them. To me, Cyberpunk is a game about enjoying the little happy bits of life. Even though most of your time in the game will be spent violently killing anyone that gets in your way of stopping you from saving your life, you just keep going, no matter what. Even if death is guaranteed, the chance to keep living is still worth it all. It's worth giving it a shot. I think the general message of Cyberpunk is something we can all apply to our lives daily. We all struggle with something, but the chance to be able to overcome it can be used as a reason to get out of bed in the morning, to keep pushing you throughout the day. In the end, we're hopeless to stop the inevitable. But as long as it's not the end of the day yet, then what else are you gonna do besides try to make what seems impossible possible? Sure, sitting around doing nothing gets you to the same place, but life's a journey, not the destination. So enjoy it, make something of yourself, help the people you care about, because you might just bump into a person that will go through hell and back for you too. If you've never played this game, I genuinely could not recommend it enough. It's easily my favorite game of all time, also it's not the same game it was when it came out in 2020, so if I see any comments about its shitty launch, I'm automatically considering that a copium huff. But if you've already been broken by this game, let me know what you think about the story in the comments. I'm sure I'm not the only one that broke down crying after going through the Nomad ending for the first time, and from what I've heard of Phantom Liberty's endings, I'm sure Cyberpunk will find another way to make me cry again. Alright everyone, that's it from me. God bless you all and have a great day.